Hi, it is day 26 of our 40 days through the Gospel of John, and we've got me and the cat this time. I wonder if there's someone or many or a group of people who have the ability and the power to make life difficult for you. You might think of a boss in the workplace, or someone who's in charge of a social circle who gets to dictate who gets invited to something, who's in the in crowd. People who can just make life difficult for you, or at the very least exclude you from the place that you get to enjoy at the moment. In general, for many of us, especially those in a working environment, there is someone or many people who get to decide who's on the in crowd and who's not. Probably there are things in our lives that we enjoy, places we enjoy going, privilege that we have, opportunities that we get, things like that. When those people can make that impact, then we have to decide whether we stay on side with them or not. We read in John chapter 12 today that there were some people who believed in Jesus, but made a choice to be quiet about it because of the impact it would have upon them. Listen to this in verse 42. Yet at the same time, many, even among the leaders, believed in him. But because of the Pharisees, they would not openly acknowledge their faith, for fear they're to be put out of the synagogue. For they loved human praise more than praise from God. Often we think about the days of Jesus and the early church as times of great persecution for the church. Well, that certainly does come along. But at this point in history, Christians aren't really being persecuted. Jesus is getting a hard time, but there's not persecution. People aren't being thrown to the lions and put in jail and things like that. But there are Pharisees, there are religious leaders who have the power to put you out of the synagogue, to not receive their praise, to not receive their favor, to make life difficult for them. And there are these people who say, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, that he is the Son of God, but I'm not going to openly acknowledge that because it says they loved human praise more than praise from God. It's a challenge for us. It's a challenge for us to think about, do I hide my faith? Do I make those choices to just suppress my story, who I am, what I believe? How was your weekend? Oh, it was great. I didn't get up to much. I mentioned church, that I was at church on Sunday. Maybe there are people around you don't even know that you're a follower of Jesus. That's where these people fell, that they believed in Jesus, but they wouldn't openly acknowledge their faith for fear they'd be put out of the synagogue. Well, in some ways it's reassuring that we're in good company, that there were people like this back in Jesus' day. But also it's a challenge that says, am I favouring what man says about me or what God says about me? Well, let it be a challenge. Sit with it. Let it challenge your heart and say, you know what? I want to be someone who's open with my faith. I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it's the power unto salvation. That's what Romans tells us, and that's what is challenging us here. Let's be open with our faith. Enjoy your day.